Dragon's Crown, the hand-drawn fantasy masterpiece. What you get if you cross Diablo with a 2D hack-and-slash fighting game? You get something close to Dragon's Crown. While this game came out originally on the PS3 over 10 years ago, its hand-drawn art style makes it look timeless. In fact, it looks a lot better than most other contemporary games on the PS3. The music is also great, and it has gameplay that no other game really has anymore, making this game still absolutely worth it. While Dragon's Crown is a standalone game, it comes in a series that has spawned other similar titles. This includes Odin Sphere and Muramasa the Demon Blade. The main difference between the aforementioned 2 and Dragon's Crown is that Dragon's Crown is on a plane, allowing your characters to move up and down on the screen as well as left to right, while the other 2 only allow for 2D movement. Dragon's Crown's graphics are still 2D however, but it's in the same vein as the old D&D arcade games that Capcom produced in the 90s. These games were part of the inspiration for Dragon's Crown. The reason it has an original world is of course that Dungeons & Dragons is copyrighted. One of the reasons this game reminds me of the Dungeons & Dragons Capcom games is that George Kamitami, the creator of Dragon's Crown, also worked on D&D The Tower of Doom. While Tower of Doom is an arcade game that's basically a beat 'em up, it does have some RPG elements. Dragon's Crown, on the other hand, is more of an action RPG with a beat 'em up combat system. This is actually a large part of the game's charm. You might be drawn in because of the art style, but the gameplay is what will keep you hooked. There are so many skills to learn and master that makes this game something you can come back to again and again. Dragon's Crown has a lot of references to other fantasy properties, including Tim the Enchanter and the White Killer Rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You even get to fight the Killer Rabbit as a boss. The story is mostly not that important, unlike with other Vanillaware games, but it revolves around a relic known as the Dragon's Crown, with adventurers setting out to retrieve it. The crown is said to grant the wearer the ability to control dragons, hence the name. To retrieve the Dragon's Crown, the player selects between one of 6 character classes. The fighter is a tank armed with a sword and a shield and is easy to play. The dwarf has short range but deals high damage with his 2 hammers. The elf is fast and has a long range with her bow, but needs to keep an eye on her arrow count. She is also very fun to play solo. The sorceress has a mixture of supportive and offensive magic, with a bit of necromancy thrown in for good measure. She also has a big hat, making her instantly my favorite character. Then there's the Amazon, who wields a pole axe and has one of the highest damage outputs in the game. She also has a parry mechanic that can make her extremely powerful in the hands of a skilled player. If you're a beginner though, you might run into problems. Her high damage magic user counterpart is the Wizard. While he might be the least impressive in terms of design, he is an absolute monster when it comes to dealing damage. While he can deal a lot of damage, he can't take it, so be careful. What's so great about these classes is that none of them are bad. In fact, when you reach a high enough level, they're all excellent and fun to play. I ended up playing all of them through subsequent runs. Along with the character you choose yourself, you can also play the game with up to 3 other human companions. This is great fun, especially if you have people over for a couch co-op session. If you're playing alone and can't find anyone online to play with, you can also recruit other adventurers as bots. Throughout your adventures, you can find skeletons around the dungeons, and these can be brought back to town and resurrected. The level of these characters will be determined by your level and the dungeon you found them in. In addition to the player and your fellow adventurers, you will also be joined by Randy, who is a thief and helps you unlock chests and doors, though he runs away when things get dicey. There's also a fairy called Tiki who helps you find hidden treasure. The town in the heart of the Kingdom of Highland is the main hub of the game where you can come between adventures. Here you'll accept quests and unlock new skills at the Adventurers Guild, and upgrade and repair equipment at Morgan's Magic Shop. Rune magic unlocked by you can be documented at Lucian's Tower, and the aforementioned skeletal remains of other adventurers can be resurrected at the Kana Temple. Here you can also receive boons for each run you've had through a dungeon. Yes, you heard that right, you will be going through the same dungeons over and over again. This might sound like a negative to some, but the dungeons are very diverse in terms of their design and have 2 paths through each. In fact, there are 9 dungeons. Each offers some secret areas as well as side quests, in addition to the 2 different exits. After completing the game, there's also a 10th procedurally generated dungeon that you can go through. When you have completed all the dungeons once, you can continue to a random dungeon after finishing a run. This is great because, like with Odin's Sphere, you get to indulge in your culinary skills and dig into the boss and monsters you slew by using them as ingredients to cook food. You make the food through a minigame, and this in turn increases your stats. Part of the fun of Dragon's Crown is finding loot, which is why I got Diablo vibes the first time I played it. The loot is graded from S to E tier. If you spend money in town, you can have it appraised and sell it for more money. The key addictive gameplay loop of Dragon's Crown is going through dungeon after dungeon, ranking up more and more experience and loot. This is where the heart of the game lies. While you can just pick up and play Dragon's Crown for a few minutes to complete a dungeon, the addictive nature of the gameplay will have you coming back for more, and before you know it, hours have passed. This is exacerbated by getting more loot and experience the more dungeons you go through before heading back to town. The difference between the PS3 and PS4 versions is that the PS4 version supports 4K and that you can choose between the original soundtrack and an orchestrated version. The PS4 version also allows you to crossplay with others on the PS3 and Vita, if you can find anyone else playing the game, that is. But you still have coach co-op and bots. The only complaint I have about this game is that I would love to have a Steam release as well, now that the PS3 is gone and PS4 is being phased out. Dragon's Crown is one of those games that I still come back to from time to time. Even though it was released 10 years ago, it still holds up, and I'm sure I'll keep going back to it again and again in the future as well. I hope we get a sequel. If you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe for more similar content. For more videos related to Dragon's Crown, check out this playlist.